Hello YouTube, it's DsChroniclesTho, and it's that time of the week again. You know how it is, another week, another chapter. But before we get into this week's chapter of our ongoing story, let's quickly do a recap of where we left off last week. So last week, we left off, New Year's had just passed my sophomore year. It was a super shitty event. I ended up like cutting off communication with Jessica and all my friends and everything like that. I went on with the school year, just kind of doing my own thing, like talking to new people. Ended up meeting this girl who was kind of feeling me. We had sex, and even though the experience itself was pretty shit, I was still pretty hyped because of the fact that I got it done. You know what I'm saying? Your boy got it done. I got that shit out of the way. No longer a virgin. I was feeling pretty good. So we can go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so she leaves, and I'm pretty excited, right? I'm still pretty hyped, even though I'm kind of like, what the fuck just happened? At the same time, I gotta tell somebody what happened. So I immediately bring out my phone, start texting my friends on my contact list, just going through like, yo, I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you. And keep in mind, before I started telling everybody, me and her did have a prior conversation to where she kind of asked me to keep it on the low, and I told her, yeah, I would, but I mean, come on, like, what the obviously I'm gonna tell Pete, you know what I'm saying? Obviously I'm gonna tell. I have to. It's kind of obligation, I have to tell somebody. It's my first time. So I tell everybody. The next day I go to school. All my friends ask me, yo. Did you and Gwendolyn really hook up? Like, are you telling the truth? Like, is that really what happened? Blah, 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 blah. Like, everyone's just talking to me about all this other shit. And I was kind of like, damn, like, I didn't tell that many people, I told some of my friends, but I didn't, like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck, like, who are you asking me about me and Gwendolyn? Like, it's not like I'm displaying that shit anywhere else, right? So, obviously, I figured my friends told people, and when that happened, I realized, damn, obviously she's gonna find out. Like she's obviously gonna find out that I told what happened. But at the end of the day, I was like, whatever happens, happens. So later on in the day, it's bio class, and like I said, me and her are partners in biology for that project, so we're in the same class together. And I was trying to talk to her in class, but she was being really weird. Like, she wasn't really talking to me at all. So that was like my immediate red flag. I like once that was going down, I was like, damn, like she's obviously mad. Like, something's gonna happen, right? So school's over. I'm going home and everything like that, and I get a phone call from her. And then, so I answer it because I was like, well, I already know what this conversation is about to be about. So I answer it, and then she's just like yelling, like, I told you not to tell nobody. Like, everyone already thinks I'm a hoe, blah, 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 blah. And now that they know that we had sex, like, now it's going to be even worse, yada, 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 yada. And then, like, I was kind of like trying to, like, be like, yo, sometimes shit goes left, but that doesn't mean that, like, we gotta stop, you know what I'm saying? Like we can still keep it going. Like how about from now on I just keep it on the low, right? That's what I was trying to pitch that idea. And I mean, she wasn't having it. She was like, nah, I'm done with you. Like, you can't keep your mouth shut, blah 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 blah. And then she hung up. And yeah, like that was like that was like the last time I ever talked to her. And it's funny because our project wasn't even done yet. So what ended up happening with that was she literally just did the rest of the project solo and just like turned it in, but she kept my name on it. And we ended up getting like it was like a B or a B plus, something like that. And I was like, shit, cool. Like, I didn't do any work on this project, but I just got a straight up B for it. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, shit, give me that shit all day, right? But so yeah, that was like the one time me and her hooked up, and that was like the last time me and her would ever like talk because of that. Um, However, that story does remind me of another story that happened. So also this entire so since January when me and Lacey hung out that one time, like we had been getting cool again and everything like that. We had been like becoming friends again because now that I was done with like the whole Jessica shit and I was done with like all my other friends, like I would just like talk to like other people, and then Lacey had been cool like with me throughout the whole time, right? So me and her started becoming cool and we started becoming friends again. And I remember telling her, because this, like I said, this was like in April. So I remember telling her, like, when it happened, I was like, dang, dude, like, I just had sex for the first time. And I remember telling her, like, the story and everything like that. And then she was like, she was laughing, but she wasn't laughing at the story. She was laughing at me. She was like that shit was whack. She was like, your first time was terrible. Like, and then she started like talking shit about me. She was like, to be honest though, I really didn't think like you would have sex with somebody unless you were like. I always felt like you'd be the type of guy who like do it when you're in love. And then I was like, what the fuck you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know what about me made you think that, but I don't really give a shit, to be honest. And she was saying how like she's glad that she's not like that. She was saying how she's glad that she's gonna wait for like for the right guy. You know what I'm saying? She was saying how she's gonna wait for the guy she falls in love with, and then it's gonna be like really like a much better moment than my experience and like all this other stuff. And then I remember thinking like that was actually like really cool of her to say, because to be honest, like the girls that I knew at the time, like they're kind of just all throwing ass everywhere. So it was really cool to like see somebody who, or like talk to somebody who like didn't feel that way about it, and like they like legitimately wanted to like wait until they were in love with somebody to like have sex for the first time. And so I definitely respected that about her. But at the same time, like, I mean, yeah, that's you, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? So I remember we were talking about that. And so like the year's wrapping up, right? And it's still my sophomore year. We're like in May now, so school's about to be done. We're about to be going to the summer. And so Lacey came over, and it was kind of late, you know. And then we were downstairs in the downstairs living room, like we were watching movies, like normal shit, right? Like usually what we do. Um, and I remember something about that day was just like really, really, really different. Like just something about it just like felt like very different. I don't know, like just being with her in that moment like felt like we weren't really friends. It felt like, I don't know, like it felt like we were closer than that. And I'm pretty sure she felt the same way, because when we were watching the movie, like we ended up kissing and making out and shit. And that was like the first time that had happened since like the first time I kissed her, like a long ass fucking time, like almost like a fucking year ago, right? Like that was like the first time anything like that had happened. And it just felt like all those emotions, like it just like came like rushing back like in that moment, because I had like put that all to the side for so long, because I was trying to like make it work with me and Jessica for a long time. To like by the time me and Jessica were done, like I was already accustomed to like those feelings for her like being like on the side and not being like relevant. So when we started kissing, like all that shit like came back, and I was like, damn, like I'm really into this person, right? And like I said, we have been getting like really, really, really close since that January. And I remember we were kissing, and then she pulled back, and then she looked at me, and then she just looked at me, and she said like super serious, like she was like, I'm ready. And I remember like when she said, like, I knew exactly what she was talking about. Like I knew exactly what she was talking about. But I mean, just to make sure, right? Like just so like no communication was misinterpreted or anything like that. Like I looked at her and I remember saying, "Are you sure?" And then her response was, "Yeah, I want you to be my first." And the first thing that went through my mind was like, now I know how she feels about me. Because I remembered back to that conversation we had when I was telling her about like my first time, like my experience and everything like that. I remember her saying like she wouldn't want to have sex with somebody unless she was in love with them. And so when she was telling me that like she wanted me to be her first, like that right there was pretty much saying like yo, I'm in love with you. Like I want this, like I'm ready for this to happen, you know? And once I realized that, like I got really nervous. Not because like I was scared or something like that. Like I got nervous because I didn't want her first time to be anything like my first time. Like I did not want her, I didn't want it to be like emotionless. would be the best way to put it. Like, for me, when I was doing it, it was just all physical, and I didn't give a shit about the person, and I didn't care about anything other than the fact that, like, I was finally doing it. But that wasn't the case with Lacey. Like, I really, really, really cared about her, and I really, really, really cared about making sure, like, even though it wasn't, like, the most romantic of settings, like, I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything I possibly could to make it as romantic of an occasion as I could possibly get it to be in these circumstances. So, I remember feeling like so connected at that time. Like, it was, while we were having sex, there was like, it was so much, it was just so many emotions involved in it that it was nothing. It was nothing like my first time. It was just so, it was like a fucking 360 of an experience. And I mean, luckily, I didn't have the same scenario where it only lasted 5 minutes. So that was pretty cool. I was able to go longer than that, but it was just so like powerful, I would say. And I remember when we were done, like, we laid together, and I could tell that she, like, felt the same. That it was more than just like a hookup. It was like something real, you know? And that was, that was what I was going for the whole time, right? But obviously when it comes to my life, things tend to go south a lot. And funny scenarios tend to happen, right? So, with that being said, so we were laying there on the couch after we had finished, and it was late, right? And at this time, we still couldn't drive yet. So the way it worked was either she would get picked up, right, or she would get dropped off. And in this circumstance, my sister was going to be dropping her off. So she comes downstairs, and, luckily for me, I locked the door beforehand, so she didn't walk in. However, she started knocking on the door, right? And when she started knocking, I was like, oh shit, like I still wasn't dressed. So, like, I, like, threw my clothes on really quick, and I, like, ran to the door, and, like, while I was, like, putting my clothes on, I was like, oh, sorry, like, I didn't know that I locked the door, you know, like, I didn't realize that I did that. So then I go to the door, and I open it, and then, I'm like, yeah, what's up? And I remember my sister was, like, staring at me, and she wasn't saying anything. She was just staring at me. And right when I was about to say something, like, what are you looking at? Like, she started talking, right? And she goes, you know, like, Dylan, it's really late. Like, I'm falling asleep. Like, I still need to take Lacey home. Like, are you guys ready? Can we go right now? And, Lacey was still undressed, right? Like, right before I entered the door, like, I threw, like, a freaking blanket over her so she wouldn't have to, like, worry about getting dressed or anything like that. And I make up some excuse. I'm like, oh yeah, just give us a few minutes, you know, like, we can just, like, so she can grab, like, her purse and shit and everything like that, and we'll be ready to go, right? So then when I say that, like, my sister kind of, like, peers into the room, and into the living room, and she, like, sees, like, her, like, Lacey, like, laying on the couch with, like, a blanket, like, over her entire body, right? And she's just, like, staring at her, and she, like, looks back at me for a few seconds, and she doesn't say shit, and then finally she goes, alright, I'm gonna wait upstairs. And then she, like, walks up, right, and she leaves. So now I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, oh shit, like, that was a close one, right? So I closed the door, not locking it and everything. And I turned the lights on because at that time, like, the only light that we had in the room was, like, the light coming from the TV. So, like, I turned the lights on so we can like, get everything together and, like, get our clothes together and everything like that. And when I do that, Lacey looks at me and she goes, Dylan, your tag is sticking out. So I was like, okay, what the fuck does it matter? Like, okay. So then I reach to, like, my neck to, like, tuck my tag in, right? And I'm feeling around and I don't feel it. And then I look back at her, and then she goes, no, look at your neck. So I look down at my neck, And I realized that not only is my shirt on backwards, it is on inside out. So my tag is literally sticking out the front of my fucking neck. And as soon as I realized that, like, I immediately realized why my sister was fucking staring at my neck for like 5 seconds without saying shit. And then I noticed that Lacey's hair is like all fucking messed up. And I realized my sister was staring at her, laying on the couch with like a blanket over her entire body, and the only thing she can see is like her hair all fucked up. And she looks at me and she sees my fucking tag on my shirt sticking out my front of the neck. She's like, well, obviously something happened, and that's why she didn't say, like, that's why she like left and was like, I'm gonna wait for you upstairs. Oh my god, it was just, I felt immediately, I felt so awkward. Like I could feel like my body getting hot. I was like, oh shit, my sister literally like she did like one step less from walking in on us. Like she did everything but actually catch us in the act, right? And she still had to take us home. Like she was the ride home. Oh my god. So we get in the fucking car and we're driving, and at the time, I mean, Lacey, she lived like 20-25 minutes away. So the whole fucking car ride back to dropping her off at her house, it was fucking silent. Nobody said a word. It was so awkward. Like no, I could, like, you could just feel it. Like you could feel it in the car. Like nobody felt comfortable saying anything. Oh my, and to this day, like, we have never brought that shit up ever again because it was so awkward. But it was really funny, to be honest. So obviously after that day, I mean, things got very different between me and Lacey. I mean, for starters, like, I pretty much knew she was in love with me now. And as for me, like, I wouldn't say I was there, but I mean, I did have very strong feelings for her, and they all fucking came back, like, from the fucking dungeon I was hiding them in, like, inside of me, you know? So obviously we talked about it, and we were talking about like how we felt for each other and everything like that. And now that it was like out in the open, it just, I was like very adamant that we had to start dating because it just it didn't make sense for us not to, you know? Like, it was obvious how she felt about me, and I told her, like, you know, like, I'm really into you too, so I think we should start dating, right? So then I brought it up, and it was actually, it was a little different, like how I even brought it up. It was kind of more like a logic argument kind of thing. Like, dude, like, logically, we should definitely be doing this because, like, you're into me, I'm into you. Like, it doesn't make sense for us not to be. Like, it was kind of funny, like, that whole conversation, but, like, it made a lot of sense, like, the things that we were saying. And like I said, I was super into her, and it was like finally we had met up. Like, it was like after all like the fucking missteps that have happened throughout like us knowing each other, like finally we like caught up in the same spot to where like we both were very interested in our relationship together and everything like that. And so like that fucking summer, like we went for it. Like I well, I mean, I say we went for it, but more it was like I went for it, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm the one trying to get her to do it. Like, I'm the one asking the question, right? So we were just hanging out one day, like very casual, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm about to just go for it, right? So I look at her, I did the standard line, will you go out with me? And then she said, yeah. So, cause like I said, at the time, that's how it worked, right? Like, we were still in that mindset. So then, I mean, shit, we started dating right there, and it was finally the summer now. So it was the summer of after sophomore year, so I was going into my junior year. And I remember my birthday was coming up. So my birthday, I mean, I'm a summer birthday, June 13th, but the thing that sucks about that is like the entire school year I'm the same age. So like all of sophomore year I was 15, all of junior year I'm 16, all of senior year I'm 17. So that kind of sucks that I never get to really like experience my birthday in school, and it's always kind of fun when people get to do that. For me, it's always a summer birthday, right? But needless to say, like, I still have I still like celebrate it, right? So for me, generally what that means is that like ever since I was little, it's always like a family thing that we do. Like whenever it's like someone's birthday or anything like that, like I enjoy having like a family get together for the birthday, just because family for me is really important. So I tend to enjoy spending time with my family. So I remember like now that we started dating, like it was really different how I felt about our relationship, because before her I never really had like girls come over to the house. Um, when we were dating, like if we were just like friends or something like that, like I would like it's fine, like they can come over, but like as far as like a girlfriend coming over to the house, it was really I didn't really do it too much. Not to say it was weird, I just didn't really like care for doing it, especially for like family events. Like I never brought any girl ever to a family event because it was just like I felt like it wasn't. I don't know. For some reason, I felt like I wasn't old enough to be doing that. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so it was my 16th birthday, and I decided, you know what? Like fuck it. Like I want to start bringing Lacey to like family events. Like I want to start like getting her like talking to like my family members and stuff like that, because I mean I'm really into her and I know she's cool as fuck because we've been really close friends for a really long time. So I'm sure my family's gonna get along with her. So for my 16th birthday, like that was like the first time that like I brought like a girlfriend to a family event. So like obviously it was a big deal, right? My family was like, oh, what the fuck, who is this? Like, and everyone was like talking to her and everything like that. But I mean, it went over really well. Like I said, like she's dope as shit. So like everybody liked her immediately, especially all my little like girl cousins. They were like, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. So I mean that it went really well. And then like at that like since that time, like I would always bring her like to family events, like consistently. And throughout the entire summer, like every time anything was going down, I'm like, oh, Lacey, like I really want you to come. Like going to my aunt's house, like can you make it? Or oh, we're going to my uncle's house, can you make it? Oh, we're gonna have some people over at my house. Like family's gonna be at my house, can you make it? And I mean, it always went really well. Like she meshed with my family like really well. So that was really cool. And then also the thing that was different about the relationship was the fact that like since we were already so close prior to like dating, like it just made everything like between us like click so much faster. Like we just were in sync like immediately, and the transition between like being friends for so long to being like boyfriend and girlfriend, like that was like it was actually a very smooth transition. I mean obviously the things that happened beforehand obviously played a role in like us getting into like a more of a romantic sense when thinking about each other, you know. But even still, like it was a very smooth transition between going from friends to going to boyfriend and girlfriend, and I think that like also helped out the relationship a lot, and it like made us like develop like such a more close bond in the relationship, and we were more open to like talking about things, because naturally in every relationship like you're gonna run into problems, you know, like arguments are gonna come up, arguments are gonna happen regardless of how like well you two people are together, right? But it was just everything about it like seemed so easy for us to like deal with. And it was crazy because like I never really noticed how me and her balance each other out so well. Like when we were friends, we didn't really like have to like help each other out through things. I mean, like naturally we would because we cared about each other. I mean, we were close, you know, but we weren't obligated to. But now that we're kind of more obligated to like help each other out during like when like someone's going through something outside of the relationship, it just felt like it felt like we were really great together. Like more than humanly possible, to be honest. Like it was just really weird. Like everything that she was bad at, like I was good at, or like whatever I was bad at, she was good at. Whatever like she needed help on, like I was able to help her with it. Whenever I needed help on, she was able to help me with it, like personality wise and like characteristic wise type traits, right? So it was just like everything about the relationship throughout the entire summer was just it was just so perfect, to the point where it kind of felt like it was too perfect. I started feeling like this is really weird. Like it doesn't really make sense for things to be going this well. And then I started getting this feeling that like we were never gonna break up. It just it was more like I had like I could like see my entire future, and it just all pointed to us getting married. And that started to freak me the fuck out. Because as time went on, it felt like I was only 16 years old, but I was already in a lifelong commitment with somebody. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, I know that sounds fucking crazy. Like you're only 16. Like, so many things can happen to where you guys break up, right? Like, so many things can happen. And even if nothing does happen, even if, like, you go your entire life and you really do never break up and you really do get married, like, how is that such a bad thing since you guys are, like, clicking well, it's like so well together, you know, like since your relationship is going so great, like why would you be scared of that happening? And like the thing is, like I said, I was only 16. Like a commitment like that was fucking ridiculous. Like I couldn't I couldn't accept the fact that like my entire life was already made up. Like I couldn't accept the fact that like I was just interested in dating somebody I liked. I wasn't interested in getting married to somebody already. And the more time that went on, the more I realized that like that is what's gonna happen. Like we're not going to break up. And that was gonna be like my entire story. Like that was gonna be it. Like that was gonna be everything. I started dating somebody when I was 16, and we ended up getting married. And I just wasn't ready for something like that. Like I was not ready for anything like that. So when the summer was over and we were going back to school, I mean, we weren't really seeing each other as much anymore because over the summer, like, she was always over. And during the school year, I mean, she could only be over, like, after school. Obviously, we both had our own things we had to deal with. Obviously, like, I always had to work on my homework. She had to do her homework, you know, like, she has her friends that she needs to maintain. I have my friends that I need to maintain, and there's not as many hours in the day, you know, so, like, we were going to be separated a lot more often than we were in the summer, so I took that as an opportunity to break up with her. And so I did, and naturally she asked why. Because, like I said, the relationship was going so well. And, I mean, I told her. I said I wasn't ready to be committed like that. And I told her how I felt, and I felt that we were going to end up getting married, and I didn't want that to be like the rest of my story. And it was crazy because she said she felt the same way. In the sense that she also felt like that was really going to be our story. Like we were really going to never break up, and we were really going to like date forever. But the difference was she was brave enough to want that, and I was too much of a coward to accept it. And that's when things between us got even more complicated.